This is ABC Radio Melbourne with Ali Moore.
Well, if you live in the inner west, what are you thinking about the opening of the West Gate Tunnel? Is it going to be a good thing? It's meant to take heaps and heaps and heaps of trucks off the road. Do you reckon it's going to do that? Or do you worry about unintended consequences? Do you worry about whether freight operators will try and dodge the tolls? There is a group of local residents who say that tolls of up to $178 a day will mean some truck drivers will divert down Williamstown Road. Give me a call. Tell me if you share that concern. 1300 222 774. Martin Wirt is the president of the community-based Maribyrnong Truck Action Group. Martin, hello.
Hi, Ali. Thanks for talking with me.
So can you just explain to us what your thinking is? I mean, given that, my understanding was that the Westgate Tunnel is meant to take the trucks off the road, how do you see these unintended consequences?
Well, yeah, when the project was first announced, it was promised that it was going to it was promised to remove trucks from local roads. But we know Williamstown Road, the government's own predictions, is it's going to get an extra 2,000 trucks a day. And that's not even taking into account toll avoiders. And Williamstown Road, for anybody who doesn't know it, it's a road that was laid out in the 1800s. It's narrow, it's got a single lane in each direction, parked cars, and then it's got Victorian houses built about, a metre or 2 metres away from the footpath. So these houses are almost on the street. And as it is at the moment, there's hundreds and hundreds of trucks going along that road. And we're not just talking regular sized trucks, we're talking road trains, massive road trains carrying like up to 4 containers. The road was never designed for it. So the fact it's getting another 2,000 trucks anyway, let alone the toll avoiders, it's just a failure of this $12 billion project.
Martin, can you just explain to me the 2,000 on the government's own projections? How does that, why is it going to feed more into Williamstown Road? Why wouldn't they be using the tunnel?
Because these trucks are going to be coming from Webb Dock. Webb Dock is over the other side of the Westgate Freeway, so those trucks will be coming over the Westgate Bridge and then getting off at Williamstown Road to go to warehouses and freight centres that are further out west there. So
they would never use the tunnel because it just wouldn't suit them. That's not the route they're taking.
No, they can't get to the tunnel, exactly. They need to come over the Westgate Bridge and then get to the facilities where they need to get to. So
the 2,000 extra, that's actually forecast is really nothing to do with the tunnel. That's more just growth in truck traffic. Growth in truck traffic,
but also because there are other roads getting truck bans, it does mean that some of those trucks that were using, say, Moore Street in Footscray, for example, would be using Williamstown Road instead.
Because there is a list, isn't there, of streets? I think there's 6 streets altogether that are going to have a truck ban on them.
Correct, which is going to be fantastic for those people living on those streets. It's going to be life-changing to have, thousands of trucks disappear that are running past your house every day. But we just don't expect a project of this scale to make things worse for people in this day and age. It's so disappointing.
So what's the alternative though? Because, as you've just said, even with the tunnel is sort of no use to those people who are moving from Webb Dock to warehouses.
Okay, well, the government, part of this project is the government's added another 4 lanes to the Westgate Freeway. Those trucks belong on the Westgate Freeway. They should come over the Westgate Bridge, go up the freeway, and then get off at Grieve Parade. Grieve Parade is down in the industrial area, and that's where those trucks belong. So they should be forced to stay on that freeway and not use a residential street. It was something that we.
So it'll take them longer, but get them off the residential street.
Yes, exactly. And we're talking about, there's major, not just the safety issues of having these road trains on our streets. We worry about our kids. There's a primary school just off Williamstown Road. They use a sports ground as their main recreation area. These trucks that we've got, running around our streets here, servicing the port, are some of the oldest trucks and the most polluting trucks. So we've got big issues with hospital admission rates for kids already in the city of Maribyrnong. We've got some of the highest asthma rates. So we know it's impacting on our health already. So just on the toll issue, the worry that there'll be an attempt to dodge the tolls, and you've said, and I just repeated there, up to $178 a day. How big a worry is that really? Because that $178 a day is sort of the maximum for a 24-hour period. And trucks, these sorts of trucks, these huge trucks, they're not going in and out, in and out, in and out. They're sort of going in once, loading and coming out, aren't they? Yeah, some of the smaller trucks, though, that's with the big trucks, that might be the case. But with the smaller trucks, it's little owner operators who are doing the empty container runs. They're taking the containers from warehouses where the empty containers are kept down to the port, they don't get paid much money. So if they can avoid spending, hundreds of dollars a day in tolls, they will.
You're listening to Martin Wirt, who's the president of the Maribyrnong Truck Action Group. Keen to know if you share the concerns about what will happen and what is going to happen in the Inner West, and particularly with the opening of the Westgate Tunnel. So, Martin, you have called for curfews. Where do you want the curfews to apply? Just along Williamstown Road?
Oh, at an absolute minimum, we'd like to see nighttime and weekend curfews on Williamstown Road. That's what these other freight routes that are getting the truck bans have had for years. And that's because they've had so many trucks running down these streets past houses. And that's what Williamstown Road should be getting. The government at one stage did promise that to us and then backtracked on that promise.
Martin, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining Drive.
Thanks, Ali. Much appreciated.
Well, Peter Anderson is the CEO of the Victorian Transport Association. Peter, welcome to you.
Welcome. Thank you, Ali. Very kind.
So I suppose the concerns that you've just heard from Martin, I mean, the government's own projections, according to Martin, of 2,000 more trucks also concern around people avoiding the tolls. Do you think there is going to be a lot more big trucks on Williamstown Road?
There is already big trucks on Williamstown Road, and of course what it does mean is that it's not about trying to avoid the tolls. I mean, if I had a business where I didn't have to pay a certain cost, I'd try not to pay that cost if I could. It's not a matter of bad behaviour. It's a matter of what I would call normal behaviour if you're trying to reduce your cost of your business.
I get that, but given the issues on Williamstown Road, do you agree, though, with Martin's call that the trucks should have to, if they're coming from Webb Dock and they're going to warehouses, they should have to stay on the Westgate for longer?
Oh, absolutely. Well, that's what the road's there to do, and of course, what the Westgate Tunnel is there to do is to take the trucks off the local roads, and we understand that the trucks have gotten bigger, but the roads haven't. So now we've built a road that will actually accommodate the trucks on a much more voluminous nature as the freight task increases. But unfortunately, it means that it won't just cost $178 a day, it'll cost over $250 a day, depending on the size of your truck.
Well, that's where I got a bit confused, Peter, because I'm looking at a list of the tolls, and essentially, if you're just going in and out, you're up for sort of between $15 and $20. I think there's sometimes for the heavy commercial, it'll be $30. That big, I mean, you just said a lot higher than I can see. I can see $178 as a 24-hour period cap. How many trucks are going to go, in and out multiple times in 24 hours?
Servicing the two ports in Melbourne, they can go 3 to 4 to 5 times, and there again they could work 24-hour period with double shifting their drivers, and that means the truck continues for a 24-hour period. The wharves are open for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And what would they pay for that route today?
Nothing.
So they're going to go. Oh, okay. So that could, that's a fairly hefty daily charge.
Correct. It is, and it'll be $20 each way for a semi-trailer. So if you do that 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 times a day, that starts to mount up. What the Victorian Transport Association did in early days, going back 6-7 years ago, we negotiated with Transurban when we first found out about this project, and what we have is a recognition of multiple use. So the first 4 trips are at normal price, the next 4 trips are at half price, and anything more than 8 trips in a 24-hour period are free. So those vehicles that are travelling 24/7 actually do get recognised and reduced in their overall costs.
Okay, but the bottom line, Peter, you're saying is that there will be people who will avoid the toll and they will end up on roads like Williamstown Road.
Well, only naturally. So it's not as if the transport industry is the bad guy here. There's an avenue to get through without having to pay the toll. Most people would do it. If it applied to cars, cars would be doing it as well.
Peter Anderson, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Ali.
That's the CEO of the Victorian Transport Association there. Give me a call. Tell me what you think, whether you too worry about this. It does seem that there are going to be more trucks where there already are quite a lot. Talking about the Inner West. Rob's in Werribee. Rob, what do you reckon?
Look, 40 years ago, that whole area was industrial area with trucks everywhere. Not a house to be seen. Or if there were, they were for the oil refineries and chemical places and all that in that area. So trucks have been non-stop through that place. And when people started moving in there because it was cheap housing, And then...
But Rob, if you look at some of those, if you look at some of the houses along there, they are a lot older than 40 years old. I mean, we're talking about workers' cottages.
And they were all hooked up with the refineries, the chemical plants, the abattoirs, all those industries that were down there had housing for them.
Yeah. But I guess that doesn't change the fact that the housing has been there for a very long time. Graham's in Kingsville on this. Graham, what do you think?
Hello, Ali. I bought on Williamstown Road in 2016, and that last quarter is completely wrong. My house was built in 1915, and the street was lined with houses then. When we bought here, we knew it was a busy arterial road. We had no idea that the government was going to bring in a plan that would actually double the number of trucks.
So, and is that, are there two parts to that plan? Is it the toll, the level of the tolls, and is it the fact that Williamstown Road is not part of the suburban roads where you can't put the trucks?
Yeah, Williamstown Road has been exempted from those 24/7 truck bans. That's correct. So trucks will continue to go past my house as a rat run to to Webb Dock at the Port of Melbourne. Our house shakes at night, and the thing is as well that these, because overall traffic levels will be lower at night, so that will make it very, very attractive for those truck drivers to dodge the tolls. And I hear what Peter Anderson says. So it'll be particularly bad at night.
So Graham, what's the answer, do you think? Do you think it is a curfew, or do you think it is some sort of requirement that the trucks, it'll take them longer, but they do go on the West Gate and they stay on the freeway for longer and sort of go round?
I tested it for a while ago. I did 2 runs from up at Laverton where the road freeway splits to either go down Geelong Road and Williamstown Road or stay on the freeway. There was 5 minutes difference. So what Peter says is true. So the issue is they need to bring in a complete truck ban on Williamstown Road or a curfew on Williamstown Road.
Yeah. No, Graham, I hear you. That was one of the things that is being called for. We will absolutely stay across this story. It is something that affects a lot of people, and with the Westgate Tunnel opening a little later this year, it'll be, be very interesting to see what happens to traffic flows.